Assalamualaikum dear viewers. I am Abdul Rafi from Rampur Jala School, welcoming you to our digital class. Today I am before you with a very important topic. It is very essential as we are to communicate with each other in our day-to-day life, because this topic will help you to convey our message to others, to report a piece of information to others. So students, let's move on, and of course let's look at two scenes first and think what they are doing in two different scenes. Okay, so scene 1, there are two characters, one is man and another is woman, and of course what are they doing? They're doing what? They're talking, right? Okay. Scene 2, there are also two characters, one is teacher and the other is the student, and of course they are also talking. So students, what can we call the utterances they are making in a single word? What can we call these utterances in a single word? We call them, yes, speech. Next, now let's look at how the information that you receive from others share with somebody else. So scene 1, the man is giving the information and the woman is receiving the information, and of course she is also delivering the information to her another friend in two different ways. First, he said, I will do the work tomorrow. In this bubble, we find that the woman has repeated the exact words of the original speaker, but in the other speech bubble, we find she has used her own words, keeping the message intact. So this is the way how she has delivered the information to the other women. Okay, let's move on for next scene. Scene 2. So the head teacher is talking to the student. So this is the what she said to the student, and let's look at how the student is sharing the information with other boys. Okay, first one, the same thing happens. That means the boy copied the exact words of the speaker, and the next one where we find that he used his own words for giving the information. Okay, so this is two ways of giving information. So student, let's recap delivery scene 1 for further information about today's topic. Delivery scene 1, the woman is sharing the information. This is the first one where she has copied the exact word of the original speaker, and the other, she has used her own words for reporting the information to somebody else. So the first one where she has used copy and paste technique, where she has copied the exact word of the original speaker, and this is called direct speech. And of course the other one is called indirect speech, because she has used her own words and keeping the message intact. So students, these are two modes of giving information, sharing information, and of course reporting something to somebody else. So students, what can we think about our today's topic? So today's topic is, yes, direct speech and indirect speech, which are popularly known as narration among the students. Okay, so this is narration. So today we are going to talk about narration, which is very important in our day-to-day life as we are to communicate with others, and this topic will show how a piece of information can be delivered in two different modes. Okay students, let's move on. Now we are to look at the examples that we have got from two different scenes, and they are direct speeches and indirect speeches. Direct speeches include these two examples from two different scenes, and indirect speeches include these two examples from two different scenes. And of course, if you look at the speeches very precisely, you will find that thus indirect speeches have gone through some changes. So before looking at the changes, let's try to know some important terminologies, and for this of course we are going to pick once again the direct speeches. Okay, so look at the inverted comma. So this is very important, and this part is known as reported speech because these are uttered by the original speaker and these are reported to somebody else by other speaker. Okay, so the other important word or phrase we can call said, and it is known as reporting verb. So these two important terminologies should be kept in memory because in course of our class we will use these terminologies very frequently. Okay, so let's move on. So let's try to look at the changes, where to change. So before finding the changes, we need to look at the examples simultaneously. The man said to the women, I will do the work tomorrow. This is of course direct speech, and the next one is of course indirect speech. The man told the women that he would do the work the next day. Okay, so said is replaced by told, and of course this is inverted comma, and which is replaced by that conjunction. Now I is replaced by he, then will do, this is verb phrase, is replaced by would do, and next one is tomorrow replaced by the next day. Students, can you term all these changes? So first one, change of person, that means I has been replaced by he. This we can call change of persons. Okay, that means pronoun. Change of verbs, that means will do has been replaced by would do. This is called change of verbs, and change of verbs of course refers to tenses. And the other words, change of other words, tomorrow has been replaced by the next day, and other words include what? Adverb of time and adverb of place. So these three changes are very important, and of course at the beginning we will talk about these three types of changes, and except these we are to know other changes later on. These are change of inverted comma and of course change of reporting verb. So let's move on for details. So let's look at some examples for pronouns. So change of persons. Okay, example, the boy said to his mother, I will help you after my homework. This is the indirect one. So where are the changes? Here are the changes. I is replaced by he, and he comes from the subject of the reporting verb. Okay. Next one, you is replaced by her. Her comes from where? Of course, object of the reporting verb. Okay. Next, her is not changed here because we are going to learn it. What is this? Okay, keep the word very precisely, very attentively in your memory, because this single word will help you to get all the information, all the rules about the changes of pronouns. S stands for subject, O stands for object, and N stands for no change. It means sun. The single word if will help you to get all the information about the changes of pronouns. So S, that means subject, that means subject of reporting verb will take the place of first person one, and the object of reporting verb will take the place of two, that means second person, and of course third person of the reported speech will remain unchanged. So this single word will help you 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay students, while we are changing this, we need to have a clear idea about table of case, and this is here. Okay, so look at the table. It is known to you, I think, and it will not be difficult for you, so I am not going to hang on the table. So let's move on for the changes of what? Verbs. Okay, before that, there is an important thing, that the word it will remain unchanged all time. Okay. Okay, next one, typical tense changes after past reporting verbs. This means the the verb of the reported speech must be changed if the reporting verb is in past form. Okay, otherwise the tense won't be changed while we are doing indirect speech. Okay, look at some examples parallelly, direct speech and indirect speech. Okay. Okay, these are the examples. So first one, she said I need help. This is present indefinite tense, and of course she thought that she needed help. That means past indefinite tense. Okay. Second one, I am waiting for Anne. This is present continuous tense, and of course he was waiting for Anne. This is past continuous tense. So third one, this has been a wonderful holiday. This is present perfect tense. Indirect one is it had been a wonderful holiday. Of course this is past perfect tense. Okay, last one here in this slide, I have been waiting for ages, present perfect continuous. Next one, past perfect continuous tense. Okay, so in a single word, in a single sentence, we bring all the changes in this way. All present tenses become corresponding past tenses. It means present indefinite becomes past indefinite, present continuous becomes past continuous, present perfect becomes past perfect, present perfect continuous becomes past perfect continuous tense. Okay, so let's move on for something more. Changing of tenses, direct and indirect speeches. So this is indirect, direct, indirect. Okay, so if you look at the underlined portion, you will be able to notice the changes in terms of tenses. That means in brief, that can be shown in this following way. Past indefinite tense become past perfect, past continuous becomes past perfect continuous, shall or will in case of future indefinite tense it becomes would. I have intentionally avoided should because the word should may be confusing in some cases, especially in extracting the message of the sentence. Next, can or may be changed into could and might. Okay, so students, so I think you have understood these things so far I have presented before you. Let's move on. Let's see what is waiting for you in the next slide. Okay, so look at the sentence. The teacher said to us, you must respect your seniors. So the teacher told us that we must respect our seniors. Here in each sentence we find must is here, so must has gone through no change at all. But what about in the next couple of sentences? Okay, the man said to her, if you increase the rent, I must leave your house. And of course the indirect one, we find must in the I must leave your house, but must is replaced by would have to. Why it happens? We will talk about its explanation. Let's look at some more examples why we find that must is used, and of course must, and it is replaced by had to. So what we find here, must has gone through three sorts of changes. Okay, so first it becomes must, that means must remains must, it remains unchanged because the message of the first sentence is permanent. Okay, in Bengali we call chironton baddhobadhokota. Next one, must becomes would have to. It is because the thing will happen in future, of course, and there is no doubt about it if the condition is fulfilled. That means in Bengali we call it bhovishyoter baddhobadhokota. The third one is, that means except these two conditions, must is changed into had to. Okay, so this is very easy. I think if you are attentive, then of course you have got the clear idea about the information, and of course you will be able to practice easily at your home. Okay students, let's move on and look at some other information. And last one, this is we can call the change of other words. And what about other words? So the man said, I will do the work tomorrow, and the indirect one is, the man said that he would do the work the next day. So look at the word tomorrow, and it is replaced by the next day, and tomorrow is what? Adverb of time, so it is changed. And let's look at the other example. He said, I have come here today, and the indirect one is, where are the changes? Come has been, gone. This is because of tense here, and replaced by there. And what is here? Here is adverb of place. So adverb of place is changed, right? And of course in the previous slide we have seen that adverb of time is also what? Changed. Okay, so look at the information about the changes regarding adverb of time in our next slide. So adverbs and adverbial phrases of time changes as follows: today, yesterday, the day before yesterday, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, next week or last year, last week or last week, now, and they are changed as follows. Today becomes that day, the day before yesterday becomes 2 days before, tomorrow becomes the next or the following day, the day after tomorrow becomes in 2 days time, next week or year becomes the following week or year, last week or year becomes the previous week or year, now becomes then. Okay students, I have tried to show 3 important types of changes that occur in the reported speech while we are doing a direct speech into an indirect one, and I have told you that I will talk about the other 2 changes that happens outside the reported speech, that means the place of conjunction and of course the reporting verb. So we'll talk about them in our next class. So it's time to say farewell to you. Before that, let me remind you, let's stay at home to be safe with all the members of our family. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.